So, we're all caught up. Ish. I had a few things. I'm going to try to stay focused. Probably not going to, stay that way, but I'm going to try to stay focused. So, I came down here. It is Thursday night. I don't think this is going to be dropped until Monday, but we're not weeks or months ahead. But this is a Thursday night. I visited, went for a coffee met at Tim Hortons, the fantastic meeting place for all us Canadians, with a friend to exchange parts and pieces. So I wanted to, as I was reorganizing things, I had a text from a friend, watches videos, lives in the area, part of my local Friends of Lego, FOL. Ooh, I like that. Friends of Lego. Anyway, and he says, "Hey, Dave, see videos, blah, blah, blah. We've met before at other shows." And he goes, knowing what I have here, hey, I need these parts and pieces. 1x1 white windows, the old one from the early 70s, late 60s. 1x1x2 windows, again, I happen to have. A couple 1x2 with handles, I mentioned that before, but they were type 2, not type 1, because I used up all my type 1s. And a few other assorted pieces. But he also wanted the base plates for the airport, the original airport, not the remake of the airport. But they call, I believe, the 9-stud road plates instead of the 7-stud. I think there's 7 studs. I can't remember with the sidewalks. Anyway, so I know I had lots of them. I knew I had lots of them. So I never really did a full inventory of my green road base plates to begin with, but especially the airport plates, but I knew I had lots of them. I never bought the airport set. Again, I don't remember the set number off the top of my head. My computer's not on, so it doesn't matter. I never bought that set off the shelf. I bought the cargo plane that came with, I think, the blue and white plane and the little cargo shack with a couple of vehicles. I remember buying that from the store. Again, I won't remember a set number. I remember buying that thinking that I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a town display. And the airport at the time was too much money, and I was walking in the store with a couple bucks in my hand at Zeller's in Stony Creek there. And I must have been in my 20s, I would imagine, when those sets were released. I could have been like late teens, but I think it was in the 20s. I remember I liked the plane, and I remember building it. And I had that little helicopter from another set, and I had the yellow black helicopter with the rescue with the pulley string. I bought that one because it was not a classic space that I wanted at the time I stepped into the store. But I bought the cargo airport set, the cargo center set. But I wanted to own the actual airport set. And I know that acquiring used lots, that I got that one. I've actually built it once in my life. Years ago when I had the ping pong table, one of our friends and I were living together. But I don't think I've had it built since then. But I knew I had the base plates. And I knew I had multiple copies of the base plates. So what happened for me was, and then again, here's some of them here, because I brought, because when he texted me, he gave me the list of parts he wanted, and he said, "Oh, and these base plates." And I knew it there for the airport, but I didn't reread his text, so I brought all my airport base plates. At least one set of each, the old and the new, or the old and the remake, because I had multiple sets. And then when I was going through there, so here's the what, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So he wanted the 9, so the 7s were out. And I got the roadways over there. Actually, I got the roadways right here. So here's the roadways. So here's the 7. I think this is the re-release. They didn't re-release the airport. They made a new airport with exactly the same base plates. Of course, they changed the mold of the base plates, so they made it wider. So there's 2 types of airports, and again, I don't remember the set numbers, and I don't care right now. But I'm going to redo both. But I have a full set for the second airport, and I got another full set over there of the second airport, but they weren't nearly as good as this. But he wanted the 9 studs airport. So these are the 2 ones. And I have brought the I already put them back on my shelf, so I'll just use these, and you can picture that these are 9, not 7. So I brought one of each with these guys, and he said, "Oh, I only wanted these 2 things." Oh, perfect. Because, and this is again I don't know if it's serendipity or whatever it is, or something I did in my past during, maybe I gave them away at other shows, but here's the thing. So when I was sorting out my 9 wides, my 9 base, my broken corner here, my 9 stud airport pieces. So each airport came with 2 of these, and 1 T and 1 landing pad. What I found is I had 6 of these roadway plates for the airport. There's no, you can see there's no dotted stripe down here. So 6 of these roadway plates for the airport sets, which means there's at least 3 airports possibly in my collection, because each one takes 2. So 2 times 3 is 6. So I had 6 of these, but I had 4 of those. And again, with 9 studs, I had 4 of those, and I have 4 of those, which means that I'm missing 2 of those. And I'm going, how does that happen? Like I buy lots, and I'm thinking in my head, did I actually give 2 of these road plates to somebody? Because it made no sense to me that I would get 4 set of 4 T's and 4 landing pads, and only 3 each, or 6 of these when I needed 8, or should have 8. But I looked through there and I didn't have the other 2. So I'm going, that's odd. But then again, what happened for me, and this, I consider it serendipity, you can call it what you want, is that he only wanted the landing pad and the T intersection. So now I have 3 complete sets with no extras, which makes me happy. I don't know why. I cannot put into words why I'm feeling a little more zen after I swapped parts with him and gave him, or we exchanged parts. I gave him the landing pad and T intersection, because now I have 3 T's, 3 landing pads, and 6 roadways, which is exactly the amount I would need if I'm going to rebuild or reconstitute 3 airports. Now, am I going to reconstitute 3 airports? Don't tempt me. I may reconstitute 3 airports, original airports, to see if I can do it. I know I can build 1 because I built 1 before from used lots. So that was very nice. So what he gave me, there was some money exchanged too, but won't talk about that. But what I was bringing to the table was those windows and a couple miscellaneous parts, an LL918 brick, because I happen to have a few. And he brought me, because this is where it all started, because I mentioned this. La! Again, this is awesome. So what I'm going to do right now is pull this guy down. The angel sang. And while I'm here, I'm going to bring them my original, because I have the original right there. So whilst I'm talking about other things, I'm going to take all this apart and put the right pieces in here. So I can take this off nicely. Possibly not, because these things are just the way the Lego builds things structurally. Sometimes it's very, very nice, but in a situation like this, here, let me break the whole thing. So anywho, so it was a nice visit, and of course we went to Tim Hortons, which is, you know, where you want to go in Canada to exchange Lego pieces. Some people think Tim Hortons is overrated. I'm not going to debate that with people. I've been going to Tim Hortons since I started basically working. My friends and I, after work, we would go to Timmy's. I've never had a coffee in my life, by the way. I'm not a coffee drinker at all. I never had 1 sip of coffee. Never liked the smell. never did anything for me. So when I went to Tim Hortons all those years, I would have my hot chocolate. I would have my hot chocolate. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have. and we would sit there because we were single. We had nothing better to do with our time, and so we would sit there. And this is back when they had counter service, which is for me the peak of Tim Hortons. Now it's like whatever, it's like every other fast food place, but back then they had the counter service, which we thought was awesome. And I'm not going to say this loudly, my first 3 girlfriends were Tim Hortons hostesses. When I say girlfriends, some of them were just more than friends. One of them was an actual girlfriend, but you're just sitting there for hours, almost daily, and you talk to them. And it's, hey, after 3 months, 4 months, hey, let's go for a movie. So I've always been appreciative of the Tim Hortons franchise, and people can have their ideas about how bad it is now and blah, blah, blah. Have at it. I am fast becoming of the opinion that I'm just not interested in angst and friction. I'm just gonna live my life, and I like going to Tim Hortons with my friends for coffee still to this day. Hang out there and chat and shoot the breeze. We sometimes go once a week on Saturday, but you know, it's a staple of my life. Is that supposed to be right in the back? Good. Other than that, I don't think I have to talk about Tim Hortons anymore. So there we go. Now I have that done. So now what's left in this guy, and I want to keep them separate, I guess. I don't have the backpacks, which I will get at some point. I'm not really concerned about the backpacks because this one has the 2 backpacks here, you know, and the backpacks that go in the minifigs. That is not here. It does have the hose, obviously, but it doesn't have the backpacks on that side because I didn't have any more backpacks. That's okay. The other thing, as I mentioned before, is on the bottom. It has the, if you can see it, right there. I used 1x8s instead of 1x16s, and I still haven't replaced them with 1x16 Technic bricks, which I still think is very, very odd. But with that, not only did it give me those 8x8 grill plates, he gave me some spares that he had in the house that he got in the lot. And so he gave me these. I had to order these for my second one because I didn't have them. So am I going to build a third now? No. So these were an addition. These were part of the exchange, and then he gave me this piece. So that's I thought that was very, very sweet and very, very kind of. I enjoy meeting fellow fans out there. I really, really enjoy sitting and talking. I keep on coming back to this. My honest favorite part of this hobby right now is interacting with fellow enthusiasts. I adore shows. It is my favorite part of the hobby. Shows, meeting people for the first time, but also part of the hobby that I really like with that is the people that I've already met before, and we establish, you know, friendship and whatever, and we talk about whatever, and we exchange parts. I'm really enjoying this. I sent a box down to the US the other day for my friend who is building some fantastic stuff right now. I sent another package to Germany because he deserves it. I got really good friends out there in the world. And I'm really enjoying this part of the hobby right now. I really am. I used to, and again, I'm going to come back to the entire idea that when I was growing up, so from my cognizant age, 3 or 4, playing with Lego, with my brother, with my cousins, with my sister when she got old enough. Because we did play a lot of Lego when we were kids, like seriously, lots. Like we had the Fisher Price, and we did have Tinker Toys. I like the Tinker Toys. The modern age Tinker Toys is crap compared to the Tinker Toys we had when we were kids. But we had all that stuff. But overall, my biggest memories of growing up with toys with the Lego, and it was all the time. Now again, memory is the worst thing in the world, but there was hours slash days slash weeks slash months slash the entire summer and winter playing with Lego. And my sister and brother and I have so many fond memories of all that time playing with Lego and building. And my brother built wonderful trucks and stuff and houses and whatever. I built the rainbow colored whatever. Terry had a great time with it. But as I got older, and I mentioned this before, as I got older, the Lego waned for literally everybody else. Like literally, not shockingly, I mean, it's just textbook. Literally everybody else except for me. I don't know what it was. There wasn't one time in my entire life that I thought, maybe I'll just stop. Not necessarily quote unquote get rid of, but just stop. It never even occurred to me that that was a viable option for me. And again, I mentioned before that other people have their lives to live as they want to, and I want to support them in their living of their lives. I never had a problem myself with other people giving this hobby up. And they grow out of it, and that's perfectly acceptable. And even as adults, I've had friends that I've with in various lugs that I've been involved with and groups that I've been involved with, where you have this passionate person that you do shows with and you do competitions with and whatever, and they just kind of, for whatever reason, lifestyle changes or whatever it is, they grow out of it. And it happens. It happened a lot when I was 12, obviously, but it even happened as adults. Like people can change. People's appreciation of the hobby can wane. Maybe they just put it in a box and put it in a shelf, or they just get rid of the entire collection. And sometimes that collection comes here. so I don't mind that part. As a pure selfishness, I don't mind that part when the collection comes here. As I said, my friend Pete dropped off his entire collection on my doorstep one day. Which is great. But I have, I'll call it inherited. I have taken in other people's collections that have just, I'm not interested, and I know Dave is. I got my cousin's whole bin there. I haven't even started looking at that yet. And perhaps, although I highly doubt it at this point, perhaps it's going to happen to me at some point. Now I am downsizing, but it's going to happen to me where I just don't want to do this anymore. It may happen. I might find another interest, or just might get to whatever's. People can change. People's lifestyles can change. People's appreciation of things can change because life is fluid. But right now, this past week even, with this, shows that I'm not there. I'm not interested. I am not at the point of, and I don't think I will be, but I'm not, betting the farm on it. But I'm still enthusiastic about this hobby. I'm still enthusiastic about the hobby. But I will say, and mention this, that my appreciation of the hobby has shifted from this stuff and sitting down here for hours on end and weeks on end and months on end and building stuff and getting ready and doing stuff to, I'll do this occasionally, like building and whatever. But the shows, the people, the hanging out with like fans. I mentioned before that the Toy Train and Doll Show, the hobby show, the Christmas train shows, I won't say they're my favorite part of my history with this thing, because RTL Toronto did some fantastic robot competitions, and that's part of it. But the robot competitions were slightly different than the shows, even though the robot competitions were a show. But I was there at the robot competitions, focused on the robot and doing, the competition and making sure my robot was going to be programmed and doing a great job. So I'm always focused on that, and not appreciation, less effort in the appreciation of the ambiance, the hanging out with people, just chatting and whatever. That didn't happen much at the robot shows. It happened a little bit. I'm going to say that. But overall, at a robot show, I'm focused on the robot and the competition and, talking smack to other people there. But at the Toy Train and Doll Show, the hobby show, and the Christmas shows, and even we get now with the Anime North and the Comic-Cons and whatever, sitting there with friends. You set up your layout at the beginning, and you sit there the entire weekend, and you get to hang out with fans, and like fans that you know and appreciate. So you get to talk to people. It is the people. And then the public days are fantastic, because then the public comes in and again, they're regaling me, because I think this is one of the main draws of my layout. It is basic, basic. No new building techniques at all. But because of what it is, it's an eye catcher, first of all, and I appreciate that. But what it is it is a lightning rod. It is a signal. It is a whatever. It's attraction for people in or about my age. Sometimes a decade younger, sometimes a decade older, and they see it from across the room. And you cannot believe the joy I get myself when I'm sitting in a room or standing in a room behind my layout, and I'm just kind of scanning. There's nobody talking to me, and I'm just like watching, and then all of a sudden somebody enters the room. And I don't know why, but all of a sudden my eye catches them looking, and across all the heads of everybody in the entire room, they see the structure of the tower, and they know exactly what it is from 150 feet away. And they make a beeline. You can just see them weaving in and out of people, and they're getting closer, and then the people part, like the Red Sea, la, and then they come and they come straight over, and of course I'm standing there, and it's like it makes my eyes a little misty. And it's not that I'm here for the pat in the back from them to say, "Oh, Dave, that's a great job." It's the love of the memories of when they were kids, because it always starts that way. Oh, I had that set when I was 10. Oh, I got that from my Uncle Jim when I was 14. Oh, my brother and I had all these adventures with this set out in the backyard. And they regale me of their stories. And that's what I find moving. That's what because I have not exactly the same stories, but very close to the same stories. I've been talking about a lot more lately than I have in the past 20 years of the movie that Pete, Jake, and I made 40 plus years ago, 1984. I guess it's 40 years. 40 years ago now, because we made it in the summertime of 1984. Lego Wars. That's now on YouTube. Look it up. This is my channel. But I've been talking about that because people stumble across it and they say, wow, they talk about their memories of this stuff and how much they and of course a lot of them, they have that a lot of them mentioned that little regret. They hit 15, 16, it goes in the box, and they went off to college, mom got rid of it. That is almost ubiquitous across the board of fellow fans talking about their collections when they come to me to talk about my layout and the memories that it invokes in them. I went off to college and I came home one day and my entire collection was gone, and mom gave it to little Timmy down the street or whatever. It left the house, never to be seen again. And then they start, and again, this is the standard 95% of AFOLs, the standard story. I was angry at the time. Mom got rid of the entire collection. And then I went off years later, got married, had my first kid, and I got old enough to buy Lego, and I was in the store and I bought a Lego set, and I just got reinvigorated with the hobby. And that is 95% of us adult fans. Now, I'm part of the 5% who just never got rid of it. Never stopped touching it, never always been playing with it. And there are a few like us out there too, but we are such a minority. And I don't think that it's better or worse than the fans who didn't have it from 15 until 30. I don't think I'm any better or worse. I don't think there's any way of justifying or even wanting to have that kind of, oh, I'm greater than you because I never gave it up. There's no need for that. A fan is a fan. How they got to today being a fan is, for me, 100%. I like the stories. Like, keep on bringing the stories to me because I can hear the same story 100 times from 100 different people because I've heard that story before. Had it when I was a kid, parents got rid of it or whatever, and then I got back into it when I had my first kids, and then I wanted to reconstitute and whatever, and people call me up for, hey Dave, I know you have all these extra parts. Absolutely. Because I'm trying to rebuild my 924. Absolutely. Got you covered. because it's the passion, it's the fun, it's the childhood joy, which I find lately is missing a lot. And I'm not talking about naive joy. I'm talking about just a simple joy of building a set, the simple joy of appreciation of a set, and the memories that it invokes in you of your childhood and the happiness. And for me, I've always been secure, thankfully. I've always had a sense of security wherever I've been in my entire life, so I never had to worry about that. But a lot of people say it harkens back to, this is why I also have to make it fast because my battery's dying. It harkens back to a simpler time for them and a happier time sometimes, but also it's just a joy of Lego. And I find that seems to be almost universal across the board. So people wane off of it, people come back into it. Almost everything, I can use my textbook example of scuba diving right now. I was a voracious diver back in the day. We did 60 dives one year. We counted. We actually did more than that, but we only logged 60 dives that year. And I haven't had a tank in my back in 2 years. Because it's timing, it's the three things again. It's always something. Timing, ability, too much effort for the what you're getting back out of it. I had fun 2 years ago with the tank on my back with the cell phones. You saw the video if you did. I recreated it in Lego. But I will always love scuba diving. I'm not going to not love scuba diving. It's just that it's not in the cards right now. It's not when you get dealt your hand. And I'm not interested in putting a lot of effort into it right now. Today. It might change next year. I don't see it changing this year. but next year I might change. I want to go scuba diving for an afternoon on a Saturday, call up my buddy and say, let's go for a dive. The issue there is that in order for us to go scuba diving now, it's going to cost a little bit of money because our tanks have been sitting in a room for a couple years. And if you know anything about scuba diving, you have to get them tested and certified and blah, blah, blah. So every time you go for a dive now, it's like almost $100. So it's like, back then it was $2 for an air fill. So it's a different world now. So there are extenuating circumstances for everything. You go off to college, your parents got rid of your Lego collection. That's an extenuating circumstance. And then you say, it's too much effort to rebuild it. I'm 20 something. I'm going to tackle the world. I'm going to go get my job as whatever, get married and have kids. And then when you have the kids and you're playing with the kids, when they're 4, 5, 6, and you start buying them Lego, and that reinvigorates your range of you when you were a kid at 4, 5, 6, 10. And then you want to get back into it. And then you show up for shows. You read in the paper or online now, so I'm dated. You look online and say, there's going to be a Mississauga Comic-Con and they're going to have a Lego display there. And again, I hear this all the time. I only came, my kids wanted to be here to see, Norturo, whatever. But I heard that the Lego people are going to put on a display, so I had to come over here to see that. I love that. I love the fact that our shows do get advertised as a value-added incentive for people to come to the show, and a lot of people walk up. I am here because I saw that you guys were displaying your stuff at this show. Fantastic. And again, I'll sit there and talk to you for hours. I'll absolutely do it. So any end, before my battery dies at 28 minutes, this is mostly complete. It's missing 2 backpacks. And it's missing 2 1x16s, and I don't even have to worry about it. So these are virtually identical. I got some extra pieces here. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. It's nice to have them. It really is. I think these, like, in blue and white and gray, I have a million of these things. But in red, now I have 2 spares. So it was very nice of him. I hope he gets along well with the rebuilding. He wants to rebuild the airport, reconstitute his airport. He was missing those base plates. I hope he has fun with it. And again, I feel a little more zen now because now I have full sets without any extraneous pieces. When I mentioned I don't know if it's discombobulation, but I mentioned I had 22 1x3 grade doors for like the 918 and stuff. This door right here, I had 22 left doors and 0 right doors, like 0. So I ordered 22 right doors, and my life's a little more centered now. So it's like, I don't know why that, I'm not OCD, I don't think I'm OCD, but that stuff, what I notice that it bothers me, I didn't notice this stuff at all until I started looking for my friend. And I said, why do I have 4 landing pads and 4 T's and only 6 road plates? I should have 8 road plates. And I started racking my brain to see if I was at a show and I gave them to somebody else. And I couldn't remember doing that because nobody wants these unless you're actually rebuilding the airport. Nobody uses these for layouts anymore. They use the mill standard or whatever else. Nobody uses 32 by 32 base plates anymore, unless you're reconstituting an actual set. So I have like stacks of 32 by 32s over there, roadways, driveways, whatever's, and nobody's gonna want them unless you're actually rebuilding an actual set from that era. And so they sit there. So it is, I might bring a bunch of them to the garage sale at Bricks in the Six. That's cute. I noticed that before. Back of that one. Top's nice, but this is like, whatever. That's supposed to look like that. So if you're at Bricks in the Six, I'm going to have some of these base plates there. $5 or $10 a piece. I don't know. I'll figure it out before now and then. I can guarantee I didn't pay any more than $5 for any of them. Because I didn't. I needed to use ones anyway, not the ones that I actually got in sets. But I was buying base plates back in the day on eBay. And if there was 7 base plates, I would bid $35. And if I lost, I lost. And if I won, I won. I won more than I lost. That's how I acquired all those crater plates and landing pads for the space layouts. And a few other stories I mentioned before, but I won't go into it again. That's it. That's all. I'm going to bed now. I just wanted to get this out because I was very happy that somebody contacted me and we got to exchange parts that he wanted and I got parts that I wanted. I want to do more of that. And I think I'm going to say these are done. So I'm going to probably put them back into Ziplocs and put them back in the totes in the garage because they take up a lot of room space in the shelf. And I do want to clean this room still. That'll be a winter project. So that's it. Oh, I was going to talk about that, but I'll talk about that. That's my next video and hopefully it won't be this long. Everybody out there, stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.